Assistant Secretary, thank you for being here, and thank you to the administration for the unambiguous commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. And I want to follow up from my colleague from Maryland's questions about the administration's commitment to Taiwan and deterrence in the Taiwan Strait. I think context is important with respect to this $14 billion package proposal that is under review. Can you just, for the record, describe the $11 billion package of arms sales that is a record commitment to Taiwan that the administration has approved?
No, thank you for mentioning that. Obviously, the $11 billion is more than the entire amount that was approved under the prior administration. It represents a real sea change in what we're providing to Taiwan. I apologize, I don't have the details in front of me of what are the equipment as part of that, but can I assure you it's some very important equipment.
Well, can I reclaim my time and clarify that it included HIMARS, rocket systems, ATACMS missiles, howitzers, drones. So this concern that the administration has not yet approved an additional $14 billion needs to be put in its proper context, that there has never been an administration that has demonstrated the commitment to Taiwan that this administration has demonstrated already with an $11 billion record commitment of arms sales. Now, we still have questions about how we can help, the Congress can help the administration in addressing the backlog. So let me actually address that question to you. What can we do in Congress to help deal with the more than $32 billion, including this $11 billion commitment, the $32 billion in arms that are awaiting delivery to Taiwan? Obviously, we have defense industrial base challenges. We have needs to backfill from Epic Fury. What can Congress do to help expedite the deliveries of these arms sales?
No, that's a very good question, and I appreciate that you had the details on the $11 billion, which clearly do demonstrate what we're providing to Taiwan. I think as part of, I think you raised a good point on the defense industrial base, and that's an area where we're really working to try to bring more investment into the U.S. So trying to do whatever we can to facilitate those investments, along with obviously facilitating any appropriations for defense that are requested by the administration as well, I think are probably the two most important areas.
Let me ask you this. My colleague, Rob Whitman, fellow colleague on the China Select Committee, has introduced the Porcupine Act that would categorize Taiwan as a NATO plus ally with the goal of expediting arms sales. Would this legislation be embraced by the administration in helping clearing the backlog in military sales?
We obviously are very supportive of Taiwan and our obligations under the Taiwan Relations Act. Whether that specific bill, what it would do, I haven't had a chance to review it, so I can't specifically comment upon it, but we appreciate the support, obviously.
Let me ask a fairly blunt question. Can you assess the impact that Operation Midnight Hammer and Epic Fury has had in terms of deterrence in the Taiwan Strait?
Yes, I think that our adversaries have looked at the capability of our U.S. military and seen things that they did not expect and seen things that they don't have. And I think that has made them think quite seriously.
Well, I appreciate the bipartisan interest in deterrence in the Taiwan Strait, but there is nothing that I think has reinforced that deterrence than the president's demonstrated the will to use kinetic force in advancing American interests. And that certainly was not present in the previous administration. Secretary DeSombre, let me ask you about the Philippines really quickly. Clearly, investing in development of Subic Bay as a shipyard has been important, and getting the U.S. Navy back into Subic would be an additional demonstration of deterrence. What next steps does the State Department see for not only new development in Subic Bay, but also to support the players that are already there?
No, thank you, Congressman. Very good question. As I mentioned earlier, we're already seeing some Coast Guard ships in Subic Bay at the moment that have relocated from CENTCOM to Subic Bay, which is a great addition to our capacity there. Obviously, we are working significantly from a foreign assistance standpoint to make sure that the infrastructure within Subic Bay and the whole Luzon economic corridor will support both economic activity and other defense-related activity there as well. So we're using the various tools at our capacity to make that happen. And I know that Indo-PACOM is very focused on ensuring that we have the right resources in and around the Philippines.
Well, thank you. My time has expired. Congress stands ready to help the administration with those arms sales to Taiwan. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you,
Yield
Congressman.
back.
Thank you. I now recognize the gentleman from Rhode Island, Mr. Ramo, for your 5 minutes questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Assistant Secretary, for being here to discuss your America First approach to East Asia and the Pacific region. Unfortunately, this administration's America First policy has meant America facing important issues alone. To me, if you want to put the security and the economic future of the American people and our interests first, that means working with our allies, being a reliable partner, and showing consistency in our foreign assistance programs. Our foreign assistance programs put America first by supporting American jobs, businesses, our goals, and security. And a great example of how we can invest in the security of the Pacific, coordinate with our allies, and support our domestic industries is no better example, I think, right now than the continued implementation of the Australia, United Kingdom, United States Security Pact known as AUKUS. AUKUS works to promote free trade and security in the Indo-Pacific by coordinating with our partners in Australia, while also supporting good-paying jobs and manufacturing here in the United States and in my home state of Rhode Island. So, Assistant Secretary DeSombre, I have limited time, so if you could answer yes or no, do you agree that a program like AUKUS is a good example of putting Americans and America first in East Asia and the Pacific?
AUKUS is a great example, and the President has indicated that we're full steam ahead on AUKUS.
Great. And I agree, and I'm glad that we agree, but I'm concerned that on other issues, your America First is false advertising and doesn't actually put America first, support the role of our allies in our shared futures, and doesn't strengthen the relationships between East Asian and Pacific nations in the United States. Thanks to President Trump's executive orders, the United States is leaving international organizations focused on Pacific nations like the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, creating a vacuum, right? A vacuum that China will fill. The administration also closed Radio Free Asia for months, leaving no news organization to counter China's propaganda. The administration withdrew from the World Health Organization and canceled global health programs, leaving our citizens at greater risk of tropical diseases. The administration canceled food aid programs, leading to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of children and greater regional instability. The administration delayed assistance to Taiwan. In fact, in your written testimony that lays out how you are implementing your approach to East Asia and the Pacific,